Are you ready to hear the chilling story of a horrifying big cat attack that only fed on humans? On June 12, 2022, in the Indian states of Jammu and Kashmir, a man-eating leopard attacked and mauled 3 young children in the dense forest close to the town of Uri, which has a history of leopard attacks. Leopards are known for being one of the deadliest predators in the world, with a history of attacking humans. But this incident was different. In this attack, the leopard exclusively targeted human beings for food. In this video, we will delve into the details of the attack and learn more about the deadly nature of these big cats. Stay tuned until the end to find out what measures the authorities took to put an end to this terrifying situation. A little more than a third of the land is covered in trees, and the University of Rhode Island can be found in the Kashmir Valley, which is surrounded by towering mountains and winding rivers. Even though it is a human settlement that is expanding at a rapid rate, the town is notorious for being one of the most dangerous places in the world for leopard attacks. This is because leopards are known to frequent the area. These big cats are formidable killers who, throughout the course of their existence, have been held accountable for the deaths of dozens, if not hundreds, of humans. They are one of the wildcat species that are the smallest, but make up for their size with their incredible speed, agility, and lethal hunting skills. Although they are one of the smallest wildcat species, they're also one of the species that are the most endangered. Leopards have teeth that are sharp enough to easily pierce through the flesh and deliver crushing bites to the victim's neck, both of which result in the victim's death in a relatively short amount of time. Canines and incisors that measure more than 2 inches in length are included in this set of teeth. They also have excellent night vision and the ability to climb trees, which allows them to hunt their prey wherever they find it, including on the trunks of tall trees or in the burrows of small mammals. This gives them an advantage over other predators because it allows them to hunt more efficiently. The first person to perish as a result of the string of assaults was a young boy by the name of Munir Ahmed. He was only 13 years old at the time of his death. He had promised his father that he would be back before it got dark, so he went to a nearby playground to play cricket with his friends. However, he didn't return until the evening, despite the fact that he had promised to be back before it got dark. After he became aware of a rustling sound in the dead leaves behind him, he was alarmed by the unearthly feeling that he was being followed. He was immediately ambushed by a spotted leopard that was considerably larger than he was, and the leopard went straight for his neck. Munir let out screams of terror and appealed for assistance to anyone who might have been listening, despite the fact that his collar and sweater were providing him with some temporary protection. His family and the community are in a state of shock and grief as a result of the tragic events that occurred when Munir was attacked by a wild leopard. When Munir did not show up at the house when he was expected to, his father, who had been eagerly anticipating his return, quickly came to the realization that something terrible must have occurred to his son. He was frantic with worry, so he went into the woods to look for his son, but when he got there, he discovered a horrifying scene. When he finally found his son, he was dead. The lifeless body of Munir lay motionless on the ground with severe wounds and bleeding to his limbs and face. He had been severely stabbed. Before dragging Munir into the woods to be devoured, the predator had dealt the killing blow by embedding its pointed canines into the back of Munir's neck. Nonetheless, that was not the conclusion of the tragic event. The very next morning, news spread about a second attack by a leopard on a young boy named Shahid Ahmed. This time, the leopard was particularly vicious. He was taking care of his family's livestock early in the morning when he was suddenly confronted by a vicious cat that growled at him and raced toward him with the intention of killing him. The traumatic experience caused the entire community to be shaken to its very foundation, and they were forced to accept the fact that the threat posed by these predators was very real and very dangerous in order to move on with their lives. The scared 14-year-old let out a piercing scream that woke his parents up from their rooms, only a few hundred feet away. However, during those few minutes, the animal had already inflicted significant damage to the boy. The leopard had left deep gashes on his abdomen, revealing his internal organs, as well as bite marks on his neck that caused severe bleeding. The injuries resulted in nerve damage and blood loss, rendering the boy immobile and mute. The parents had to piece together what had happened. The leopard had fled after dragging the boy a few meters away, and his family took him to the nearest hospital, where he tragically died in the ICU a few hours later. The incident left his loved ones devastated, and with the father still haunted by the memory of his son's screams of agony. Following the news of 2 brutal attacks in the city, another young girl's disappearance shook the community. Rutba Manzoor, a 12-year-old girl who was playing in her garden when a leopard pounced on her and dragged her into a nearby forest. The girl could do nothing but scream, but the animal quickly silenced her cries by biting her neck. After Rutba had been missing for several minutes, her parents looked out the window to call her back but saw no sign of her. They frantically searched the area outside but could not find her. The town gathered to look for her, but it took over 3 hours to find her half-eaten and bloody body lying next to a tree. The tragedy that occurred when Rutba passed away rocked the entire community to its very core. It marked the end of a devastating series of attacks that had taken the lives of 3 innocent children within the span of just 2 days. Her brother was the one who first found her mutilated body, and he made frantic efforts to hide the gruesome scene from his parents. But it wasn't long before they too happened upon the scene, and they were left in utter disbelief after learning that their cherished daughter had been murdered. They brought her lifeless remains back to town with heavy hearts, the sound of their anguish reverberating through the streets as they did. The state government came under intense scrutiny for its lack of response as the news of the attack spread throughout the state. The citizens of Rutba, including the parents of the town, took to the streets in order to express their disapproval and demand that justice be served for their children. The authorities spent a significant amount of time and effort conducting exhaustive searches throughout the forest over the course of several weeks in an effort to locate the leopard that was suspected of being responsible for the deaths of the humans. After numerous unsuccessful attempts to subdue or calm the animal, it was finally located and put down with a bullet. The tragedy sparked a larger conversation about the unplanned expansion of towns into uncharted forest, and calls were made for the Indian government to take action in order to prevent further fatal encounters with wild animals. There was no solace for the bereaved parents of the 3 children who had lost their children because there was nothing that could be done for them. Their lives had been irreparably changed by the vicious attacks of this ruthless jungle predator, shattering their lives forever. As we come to the end of this video, it's hard not to be shaken by the horrifying events that took place in Jammu and Kashmir. The stories of these big cat attacks serve as a reminder of the dangers that wildlife can pose to humans, especially in areas where humans and animals share the same space. It's important to remember that while these attacks are tragic, they are also rare. It's crucial for us to respect the habitats of wild animals and take necessary precautions to avoid encounters with them. As we continue to expand and develop our cities, it is our responsibility to find ways to coexist with wildlife without endangering ourselves or them. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you at the next one.